So this Christmas, I got a microscope and it has been so much fun. I've been looking at so many things, but I really wanted to look at some microfauna, stuff that we would find in our vivariums, stuff that we would put inside of our vivariums. So we're gonna use this microscope and we're gonna get an in-depth look at just some of the stuff that we can find within our vivariums. So let's get to it. All right, you guys, so the first thing we're gonna look at is a dwarf white isopod. Now, a dwarf white isopod is one of the most common isopods that you can get in this hobby for vivariums. They're great cleaners. They love to break down any organic material within the enclosure that's just pretty much considered waste, whether that's rotting leaves, rotting wood, feces in the soil, stuff like that. So these guys play a huge role and they breed rather quickly once they're fully established. Let's see if we can separate this guy from some of the soil. So just to, I don't know if you guys can see him, just look at that little tiny white dot on my finger, on my hand right there. You see this? Right there. The guy's tiny. So we're gonna go ahead and throw him on a slide. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm extremely excited because 1, I love bugs. 2, I love isopods. And 3, I don't know, it's just gonna be cool. It's tiny, so I wanna see how crazy it looks under a big lens. The lighting going. Gotta get it to focus on them. Let's see what we're looking at here. Wow, those are the feet. So that's already pretty cool. Let's see. That is crazy. So when you look at something like a dwarf white, they're small, right? You don't expect them to be, you don't expect really, I don't know how to put it, you just don't expect hairs. But I mean, these guys got them, and that is your mouth. Your mandibles, that's cool. Let's see, what else we got? Are you climbing out from under the slide already? All right. Lost you. Where'd you go? Oh man, look at that. That is crazy. So you can see how they have all these little hairs on the side of their, I guess you would call it a carapace. It's kind of crazy. Just even the slightest movement, you can just basically lose this entire thing. So you gotta really be careful. I think that's just soil on top of you. It's a bunch of little soil on them. So we can get some closer. Oh man, look at that. Oh, there it goes. There's that little hit. Look at that. You wouldn't expect that they have all these tiny little hairs. Man, dude, and these guys are quite practically translucent. Those are the mandibles. That is crazy looking. Let's see. Look at that. You can, so they have little, wow, their mandibles are actually serrated. So that's kind of funky. That is trippy looking. See, maybe we can zoom in on this a little bit. That is wild. What's your antenna? You really look, their legs or their antennae, they kind of look like scales almost. Check that out. Let's see. See that? Kind of looks like little snake scales or lizard scales. These guys are way different than I was expecting them to look. Pull out of this a little bit so we can get a more full body image of this guy. He is pretty funky under the microscope, not gonna lie. A little bit more terrifying than cute. They're cute when they're not under this thing, but I think pretty much anything's gonna look really just odd under close magnification. I want to flip this guy over, see if we can maybe get a better angle of him. This one I'm actually going to have to use a slide on you for, buddy. You know what? So oddly enough, these guys are pretty strong. So just that little glass square slide on top to hold him in place is probably not going to work because he was able to get out from under it. So we're just going to do two big slides, sandwich him in between it just for a second. Let's see. So that's a whole different little view for sure. That, what is that? Heartbeat? What's going on there? You got a little fuzz on you too, a little hair. What'd you got? I lost you. Almost looks like he's got a heartbeat going. That's really cool. And then I want to figure out what that orange stuff is. I wonder if that's their diet. Maybe the food that they're eating. A lot of times when you're culturing these, a lot of people like to offer them some fish flakes, which would probably make sense with that orange color on the inside. But let's get a better look at all those hairs. That is crazy. These guys are a lot different than I expected. Look at this. And they have all these different layers as well to their armor, I guess you could say. Let's get closer. Nope, didn't mean to get that close that fast, but here we are. Check that out. That is gnarly. Let's see. What is that? That is really crazy looking. I actually have no idea what that is. I feel like that would have to be maybe, I don't know if that's its heart because it's kind of pumping all the way through. Maybe it's just like a stream of blood. But I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out. I'm going to have to look that up later. See what that is. That is crazy. I just don't know why the heart would be, here's the head. would it make sense for the heart to be all the way down here? Let me try something. Let me switch the lighting. So now instead of a surface view, we can actually borderline see through this guy. Hopefully that did not help. All right, back to the normal light. Again, the antenna with all the little hairs. Let's get close to that area and we can see more. What do you guys think that is? You guys think it's its heart? Because I have no idea. Leave a comment down below and let me know if you know what that is or what you think it might be. Because anatomically, I just can't see why the heart would be all the way towards the end. But the animal kingdom is pretty crazy and nothing really fails to surprise me anymore. I don't know if those are hairs or if those are little spikes. Either way, it's cool. And I'm gonna imagine again. So the dwarf white isopods actually tend to spend most of their time in the soil. So you're not gonna really see them very often inside of a vivarium. So with all these little spikes, I would imagine that those spikes are to help them get through the soil easier. But those are pretty funky looking. I can't stop looking at that. That's just so crazy. And again, if you really look close, you can see all those like little scales almost. That is cool. So let's get onto a normal springtail, the tropical springtail. So the little white ones that are very common. And then we're gonna move on from that and probably do an orange springtail because those are my favorite. So let's get to the white springtail. All right, so now we're gonna get on to the white springtail. Springtails are extremely, extremely small. If you thought the dwarf white was small, these guys are way smaller. So we might not be able to get as crazy of an in-depth look at them. However, we're still gonna be able to get something that we wouldn't normally be able to see with the naked eye. Now, springtails are another really beneficial type of microfauna that you can find in your vivariums. These guys are basically fungus eaters. So any mold, any fungus that might be building up in your soil, that's where these guys come in and they love to eat it. You can get them on charcoal. Charcoal makes it easier to see them and eat active carbon. Some people do them in clay cultures, calcium-bearing clay cultures. Tend to help them breed a little bit better. I gotta be fast with this actually, because these guys, it's in the name, springtails. These guys jump around a lot. Oh, did I get one? This is the fun part with springtails. You gotta be quick because they just jump away with given the opportunity. Boom, got them. All right, so let's check these guys out, huh? All right, so you know what? That might have been you guys. Oh, there they are. Oh man, those are really small. Let's see what we can see here. I don't know. These things are tiny. We got another one right here too. Might have grabbed two. So we got some. There we go. That's a bigger one. Let's go with that guy. Oh, you're moving. Okay, so let's get closer. Weird. Stop moving. It's kind of tripping me out. Oh man, these are crazy looking. So these guys are just covered in tiny little furs, tiny little hairs. Look at that. And I'm gonna imagine that because they are springtails and they jump around at pretty much any moment's notice, that those hairs are probably to help them feel if there's danger around or anything like that. So you see that right there. That is the tail that they use to basically spring. So springtails will actually tuck their tail underneath their body and then they just spring away from danger. Let's see. Well, those little white things on the inside of them are. These are kind of crazy looking. I'm not a big fan of the legs moving. It's kind of tripping me out. But there's one thing I can't say is these guys are just covered in fur and they have these little pointy feet. Those are kind of cool looking. But again, I'm always trying to figure out like what it is inside that we're seeing. All those little white solid areas throwing me off because it's interesting and I want to know what it is. But I feel like I'm not going to get that answer right away. So I'm going to have to do some research after this. What's that? Ooh, that's a good angle right there. Check that out. It's a whole nother one. Ooh, let's see. And these guys, I don't know if they have eyes. I can't really tell if there's eyes on these guys. See again, and there's all that white stuff. So I have no idea what that is. It's cool looking though. Oh man, this guy's full of it. That is crazy. If you really look up at the top right there, you can see all that movement on the inside right there. That is weird. God, I wish I knew what that stuff was because I feel like that's the main part of these guys that I just want to know about. Break my neck doing this. It's crazy. It goes all the way throughout the body. It's in the body. It's in the head right here. It's right in the center of the head, but there is none in legs or in the antenna. So it's some weird gelatinous fluid. It's pretty trippy. Pretty cool. Now that we got these guys out of the way, let's move on to the orange springtails. Those guys are my favorite. All right, so what I have under here right now is a springtail, but not just any springtail. These are really some of my favorite springtails. These are orange springtails. They don't really jump around as much, if anything at all. And they're vivid orange. So this guy's gonna look pretty cool, I hope. And they play a really important role in your vivariums. They eat mold, any fungus. That's really what they thrive on in the wild. So any mold or fungus that's growing on your plants or on the wood or even in the soil, that's where these guys come in. Just gotta find them. There you are. Let's see. That's already, that is so wild. That's literally just strands of hair. That is crazy. So I'm gonna imagine that that's probably not the head. And the head, that's gross. But there's the head. Look at those antennas. That is cool. Look at that. I'm not seeing eyes. I don't know if they have eyes, to be honest with you. I feel like they would, but it doesn't look like they do right now, at least from what I can tell. And I'm wondering if that's what all of those hairs are for, maybe to help them feel around their environment better. That is gross. Oh my gosh. Look at that. This guy is literally just covered in all these little hairs. These little antennas are cute though. I would go as far as calling these soil puppies. All right, these guys are creepy, but they're also kind of cute at the same time. It's a really weird one. I don't think it'll get any cuter than this under a microscope for anything else. And this is already really pushing it. Oh, that's weird. Just look at all those hairs. That's crazy. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think that these hairs are for. Are these hairs to help them feel around their environment better? Do you think it aids in them digging around through soil? What do you guys think it is? Because I actually have no idea, but man, it's cool looking. What is that on top of that one hair? That's creepy. You know what? These guys have an underside too, so I want to see what the underside of these guys looks like. Something tells me the moment we see all the feet, that's going to get really creepy. Let's see. Gotta find them. Gotta find you. Where'd you go? All right. Yep. I knew it was going to be creepy. Nothing really cute about the underside of these guys, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, those legs are terrifying. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Man, that is cool. Definitely not what I was expecting, but still really cool. And again, all those little hairs. That is so intriguing. Let's look at one more thing before we head out of here. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Let's see what I have. All right, you guys. So this is actually probably going to be the most exciting part for me, and I'm hoping it's going to deliver. So what this is moss that I pulled out of my terrarium over there, and I soaked it with water in hopes that any little microorganisms that are in the soil or in the moss are going to flood out into the water, and we should hopefully be able to see them if there are any, which I cannot imagine that there wouldn't be any. So we're going to use this syringe. We're going to do a couple. We're going to pull some directly right out. I'm just going to put this right into the moss and just pull some moisture out of there. And then if this doesn't give us anything, then we're going to put it under the moss into the water. See if we can get anything from there. No, that was a lot more water than I was hoping. Whoops. This water is coming directly from the moss itself. So let's see what we can see at a distance first, other than a bunch of dirt, so we can see anything moving. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a nematode in there. This is actually really clean. Oh man, this stuff is actually really clean. Not seeing any movement. Wow. I was expecting something, even, I don't know, maybe like a rotifer or something. Nothing. All right, well, I guess that means we need to go under the moss and try to see if we can get anything from under there. Seriously? Nothing? That is crazy. Not seeing anything. Not even a little sign of movement. That's a bummer. Well, let me go grab some moss from outside so we can see the difference between moss that you buy versus moss that you can grab from outside. Because right now, this is moss that was inside of an enclosure, and there is no life that I can see residing in it, which can be a good and a bad thing. Most bacteria are going to be really, really small, and this microscope's not strong enough to see that. However, I'm going to go outside and see if we can find some moss that might be housing, or might be a home to some maybe not so great things. All right, you guys, so I grabbed some moss from outside, poured some water on it in hopes that we can hopefully find some little microorganisms. All right, let's see what we got under the microscope now. Hopefully this works out. So We got a lot of debris and soil and sand granules and whatnot. But oh, look at that already. That, I have no idea. But it's cool. Let's get a good look at that. So right off the bat, grabbing soil from outside, for instance, or moss from outside, right off the bat, we're already coming into a microorganism that kind of looks like maybe a nematode. Kind of hard to tell, but look at that. If you don't know what it is, let's see if we can get closer. I think I lost it. Let's see. It should be over here somewhere. There we go. I don't know where that thing went. Oh man, it can't be that hard to find. Oh, there it is. That is not what that is. I don't know what that is. Look at that thing. That is not what we were looking at earlier, but man, he is moving. Look at that thing. Thing's moving all the stuff around too. Jeez, that I would imagine is a nematode. Look at that, just so sporadic. Ooh, that thing is crazy. Cool, let's see if we can find something else. Oh, there you are again. See if we can find that original thing that we were looking at. I don't know how we lost that so fast. So far we've got 2 small organisms. What else? Let me zoom out of this a little bit so I can figure out where that guy's at. I do not know how I lost that so fast. Oh, there it is. All right, let's see. Come back down, zoom in. That one looks a lot slower too, so we should be able to hopefully keep an eye on it for longer and be able to get a better focus on it. Look at that. I don't know what that is. It's gross. That's for sure. Look at that thing. Like a little worm. Definitely some type of nematode. It's not a tardigrade, and I was really hoping that we'd at least find a little water bear, because that would be pretty cool. Little feet. But that doesn't seem to be the case. This thing is just wiggling around everywhere. I don't know what that random blue thing is. Let's try. Almost want to do another sample. Let's try another sample. Moving already over here, I think. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. Look. Oh my gosh, there's a lot more in this sample. Oh, look at this. Everything's just alive. Everything's moving around. So let's say you had a really nice vivarium and everything was just so perfectly dialed in. Maybe some of your moss died and you think, I'm gonna go outside and just grab some live moss. Well, keep in mind, you might be introducing some maybe not so friendly guests into your enclosure. This is pretty wild. There's another one of those nematodes right there. Those guys move fast. Kind of hard to focus on them when they're moving so fast. Let's see what else. You got some more movement right there. So we can get some more light on this. That's better. Oh my goodness, what is that? Where'd you go? What was that? That was big. There it is. I don't know what that is. It's some type of rotifer, I think. That's cool. Look at that. It's very cool. Look at that. It looks like he just anchored himself to that little piece of debris. He's just eating anything that might be just cruising by. Look at that. I got something right here. Got that. That's another one of those really crazy looking worms. Look at that. Guys, jamming out over here. Super hard to focus on him. Needless to say, there is a bunch of stuff that you might not want to introduce into a vivarium just based off of this one sample of water that came from a piece of outside moss. So maybe keep that in mind if you're ever thinking about actually grabbing some outside sources. You want to just make sure that you completely disinfect it, whether that's freezing it for a week or just running it under hot water, whether that be wood, baking it, just anything that you could possibly do to disinfect. I just realized there's 2 of these things right here. But yeah, so there you go. That is some of the microfauna under a microscope. Honestly, this was a super fun video to make. I can't wait to look at more stuff, and let me know what you think I should look at next underneath the microscope. I hope you guys liked this video. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you never miss a video that we put out. And I'll catch you guys next time. Whoop!